Can AI write your beats?
No deal, I'm jaws on the beat, I got a flow that kills. Do my ting with a few G's, Lauren Hill.
What's up troop, it's Unders, and in today's video we're going to explore a plugin that has just come out of the beta, just become available to the public, called Musia. The idea being it's a chord generator that uses AI algorithms to generate your chord structure and then generate melodies around your chord. Been having a little play around with it and I put together this beat.
Don't wait for me, I'm not, no, not, no, I don't wait for me, I'm not, no, not, no, I.
And the three main musical elements from that all came from Musia, and then we did a little bit of tweaking in Logic just to give it my own uniqueness and feel. Let's have a little explore of the tool and see whether or not it could be useful for you. Okay, so the three elements that Musia wrote was my initial chord structure, so this here. The bass line. And the melody. I then just add a straight drum loop, backing vocal samples, and a chopped vocal.
No, not, no, I don't wait for me, I'm not.
You open Musia on an effects channel inside, say, Logic, like we're using today. So I've got a piano loaded up and we've called that chord. We go into audio effects, we can find it under audio units, and then in Creative Mind, got the Musia plugin. Now, one thing I would really like is to see this available so you could play it directly into your instrument or with your MIDI keyboard as triggering it. That's just come out of beta and I've spoken to the guys and they say that is something that's going to come down the line, but at the moment this is going to be our workflow. So what we can do is choose some various options essentially. So if we go from the top here, the first thing we need to do is kind of set our tempo. This track here is at 87 BPM, so we can just double click on our tempo and pop in 87. This means anything we play or listen to is going to be relevant to the sort of tempo we're working at, right? We've then got ourselves two instrument choices. We've got a chord instrument and a melody instrument. It's quite nice to have them separated so you can really hear the different things playing off each other, like my chords, for example, on a piano here, and I've got a saxophone as the actual melody. In this case, we've done the same thing. We've got an E piano and an alto sax. Next, we've got our genre. Now, what the genre really does, that lets us define what the chord structure is going to be like for the song. That's all the genre does. It chooses that kind of chord structure and the sort of chords that would be used in that genre of music. Let's have a look. At the moment it's on R&B and soul, but let's say we switch it up and we change it to hip hop. You might have noticed a very quick change to our chord progressions at the bottom, and we can see our chord progression here. Now it's in auto mode, so at the moment it's just filled in straight away. If we hit auto mode though, it turns off, and we can actually take these chords out individually. Alternatively, we can hit delete all, confirm, all of our chords are gone. Now, based on our key on the left hand side, cell here will give us a corresponding chord. If I was to tap down and we'll move up to F, for example, chords are now going to be relevant to F. So the first one here, we can hear our F-7 just by clicking and holding. The little up arrow jumps it into that cell. We've now got that as our first chord. We go to the next cell, we can then choose the next chord. What do we think sounds right? Now what I like to do, I like using this AI side of things because it allows us to fill a really nice chord progression automatically. So let's do auto mode and then auto chords, and it's now going to fill that in for us, but it's left our original chords. We can remove both of those, it'll auto chord again, and it'll fill those in for us. And there you go, based on F, based on F minor, we've now got a chord structure completely generated on the fly essentially. We can hit auto chord again if we didn't like it, and it will have a think and very quickly change it to something else. So once we've found a chord structure that we like we do here, what we can do is use our melody option as well. Now we can have it in pentatonic or heptatonic. Let's go to pentatonic, and we can take our note density from 1 to 7. Note density is essentially how complex this melody is going to be, how many notes are in it. Let's bring it right down to 2 for a nice simple melody. Now our syncopation, let's have it on 8. We're going to go for something really simple, rigid hip hop here. And we want the rhythm complexity to be pretty simple as well. So once we've done that, we can hit auto melody. That is now going to create 3 different melodies we can maybe use in our track. They take a minute to create because the AI generated at the end of the day. And now, because we've got our initial melody instrument set to E piano now, we could switch that out and make it, I've got a sax in my track, so let's try and make it so it works with a sax. With a melody. Now, if we don't like one of the melodies, we can simply hit this little arrow here, and it's going to generate a new one in that slot for us. Now, once we've found some things we like, they're really easy to bring over into the DAW. I've set this up so I've got chord, bass, and melody in Logic. So what we can do here is just highlight our chords, and we can just drag them and drop those into the track like so. And there we go. So we've got our chords in there straight away now. Now I really like this feature. If we just want the bass notes, instead of having to edit the MIDI, we can simply tap bass notes and drag it out into the one below. And now we will have the bass notes as well. An instant bass line, I love that. And then we can take a melody and drop that in as well. Alright, so there's the start of our beat, completely written via the AI of Musia. Let's have a little look at how we can tweak it and make it our own. So what I did with the previous one is I used a little bit of flam to give a kind of sweep into the MIDI, you know, that classic 1999 Dre feel, right? Really simple to do in Logic. If we highlight our chord track here, make sure we've got our inspector up, so we can press I to bring that guy up, or just over here. Look, we need to quantize it, even though it's already quantized. So we'll go quantize, we can go 1/8 swing B, that will be fine. Then we've got Q flam just here. Give that a little push up, and bassline's now perfectly in. We can kind of human up the sax track pretty easily as well. If we just highlight it, Control A, select all of the notes, and we go into functions inside Logic. We've got this little guy called humanize. The position will leave pretty much the same, like that tiny adjustment will do. Velocity, give it a flux of 10. Length, a little bit of an adjustment there. Hit operate only. That'll give us a little bit of movement in there with the sax as well. Bring our drums over and hear how we're doing. Guys, it's a really interesting tool. There's a little way for it to go. I'd love it to be able to work a bit more with our instruments instead of having to build the melody and then drag everything over, but the guys say that is coming. It's really interesting the way it builds these different chord structures and melodies, and you can just chop and change them, drag them, save them for later, do whatever you need with them. It's an interesting way to write music without actually touching the keyboard. But I kind of like it, and the results, they sort of speak for themselves. They give you a really, really great starting point. Available to try it for free, I'll link it down below. I quite like it, I'm kind of impressed with it. I hope it's been helpful for you guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.